65 years of independence, still grappling with insecurity. Did you listen to the president's?
I did.
Okay, and he said a lot about how Nigeria has turned the corner, how the economy has made a rebound, how insecurity is being pushed back and all of that. Barrister, growing up in Nigeria many years ago and now, I would like for you to do some kind of comparison. What you know then and what you know now, is there any difference? Have we made appreciable progress as a nation in terms of insecurity? I don't even want us to get into economy now. Let's even start with insecurity as we read out. Under Buhari's administration alone, 63,111 Nigerians were killed in cold blood. And as we speak, those people are still asking for justice because the killers were never apprehended, were never prosecuted and all of that. Barrister, what's your broad reaction to
it
all
is
of
a
this?
sad commentary that we have come to this sorry state at 65. Yet, the leadership have not recognized the impacts of this problem bedeviling us because they brought it. They brought it. This insecurity, they brought it. So that's why they don't want to address it. It's unfortunate, seriously. How do you make such a speech without dwelling seriously on insecurity? Mr. Okura Moses, do you remember that whenever any president is being sworn in, he swore to protect life and property? That is the major issue they came to do to the people. To protect life and property. If you have failed on this particular major duty, please, what other progress are you talking about?
Exactly. If you cannot deliver on the oath you swear to uphold, what other progress are you talking about? Anyways, wonder shall never end, ladies and gentlemen. And this is another bombastic reaction on the speech that Tinubu made on 1st of October, which marked Nigeria at 65, saying that things are getting better. This one is getting better. The other one is getting better. Why in the actual sense, people have said Nihigaba, that the reverse is actually the case, but he's busy telling us that things are getting better. Why things are getting worse? And in this particular video, Barrister Darrington gave it to him. Several other videos are still on my video list. In fact, I am going to allow you to listen very attentively to this bombastic one. But as you are listening to it, make sure you are sharing your thought with me on the comment section. Share the video and also subscribe for more updates. And after that, I'll be back. Let's go there.
Look at Nigeria. We are now sharing governance with the terrorists. And nobody thinks it is important. So how can you make progress where there is insecurity? Mention one particular country in the whole wide world where you have ever made progress with insecurity bedeviling you. It can never happen. So all this speech is all about deceit because it is not possible for Nigeria to make progress with this insecurity. It's not possible. It can never happen. Except the president addressing this insecurity, he's wasting his time. Next year, he will still do another speech. But you will not tell Nigerians why the government is sharing power with terrorists. I mean, sharing power. They now decide what to do and what not to do. They tell Nigerian government what they want and they will comply. They give you their names. You can't even pronounce it. President Tinubu was quick to mention IPOB and ESN in the Southeast. But this other people did not. He didn't call their names out. He had never, since he came into office, these Fulani herdsmen that are terrorizing farmers, he had never called out their name. One day. Can you compare IPOB and what they are fighting for and what the people are doing to us? Can you compare it? So when you have not identified the problem, how can you solve it? How can you solve it? Every year, the same rhetorics. The same rhetorics. You want to. What have you done exactly that you can go to market and say, yes, this thing, you can see it. You remove fuel subsidy. Where is the result? Are you not still borrowing money? So what is this thing that every time they will write speeches to deceive Nigerians? You brought a net fund and the universities increased their school fees. So the gain of the net fund was taken away. You give me by the right hand and you collect it with the left hand. So what is that thing that you and I can take to the bank and say, yes, this thing is working? Okay. Moses, are you aware that the tax that is coming? They said whether you are doing illegal or illegal business, you pay tax. Did you hear that? Whether you are doing illegal or legal business, you will pay tax on it. So prostitute, over to you. What are you doing? You are asking our children to enter into that business. Can you just imagine a government that want to move forward? The kind of thing that is coming from their mouth because you want to tax everybody. Nothing to hold on to.
The president spoke about taxes. He said it's not to further burden the people, but to expand the tax net and ensure that everyone that is taxable pays tax.
So this is how they found it, Abi.
Well, he also started his speech by saying that he knows that naysayers will contradict some of the things that he put out there. And well, I don't know, Barrister, are you a naysayer?
In fact, I am a naysayer 10 times. I am a naysayer 10 times. Mr. David, Mr. We have been deceived so much by these people. Since APC came into I told you they hijacked Nigeria.
All right.
This is not our culture. Insecurity. What is that covenant the APC had with these terrorists that they don't want to tell us? They gave you names about terrorizing Nigeria. Up to today, they have Buhari did not mention their name. Tinubu did not mention their name. So what is going on?
Okay.
But whenever they want to catch crews, they will look for somebody in the southeast. IPOP.
Okay.
IPOP, indigenous people of Biafra. Is that a terrorist organization?
All right. Let's move this conversation to Ambassador Roy. Ambassador Roy is the National Secretary, retired members of the Nigerian Armed Forces. Ambassador, good to have you. Good to have you join us this morning. You're joining us from diaspora. Well, the president did say Nigeria is winning the war against banditry and kidnappings, and some Nigerians have been asking why the parade, the Independence Parade, was cancelled. Could it be linked to fears that there might be some sort of uprising? I don't know. You are in the intelligence sector. Is there something that you can tell us in that regard? And also help us address the question of Nigeria winning the war against insurgency.
Wow, thank you very much. I hope my audio is
very clear. Very clear.
Okay, you know, when you are talking about a 65 years old man, you have to speak with respect. Okay, because Nigeria is 65. Now, let us look at the war, but I want to take something off from what Barrister said. You know, Barrister, good morning. I greet you.
Good morning, sir.
All right, sir. Let me take this from what Barrister said. It's painful, okay? But I want to highlight two things from there before I answer the war in security and the yardsticks. Now, if we look at the IPOB and the East, and the difference in the analysis put forward by different government officials against terrorism and the activities of IPOB, I would like to let Nigerians know that we have people from the East in key positions in governance today. We have people from the East that are governors in eastern states that are in hot romance with the current national government in Nigeria today. We have people from the East that are in international and diasporal platforms that the government is approaching, and they are very useful to the government to help for our international romance. And I expect those people at those offices and those levels of communication and romance with the current government to be the ones to project positively the necessary national input in the East, okay? Not a violent and non-state actor position by IPOB. I need an academic, articulate approach. Now, let's look at the APC too. The APC is a conglomerate of Nigerian politicians. During my years in the military, I was opportune to be in the transition period also, when the democracy was taking over and the military has to step down, and the whole of Africa started, and the world started saying military rule is now unpopular.
Barrister.
Yes.
In talking about some of the achievements of this administration, the president talked about some things that have been put in place, NEL Fund and a few other things. And he also said, look, it's in the hands of Nigerians now to, basically take advantage of these things. Why do you think Nigerians are not taking it? Before we get into that, let's go back to the beginning. The president started, in part of the few things he started with, he acknowledged that his administration inherited a broken economy. And he said, look, we've come a long way, and in the past 3 years, a lot has changed. Do you disagree?
I completely disagree, because whenever they want to shift the goalposts, they will not be.
But he has consistently said he inherited a bad economy. Especially
From who? Moses,
the Buhari administration.
He has never mentioned Buhari's name. He keep repeating it. We inherited a totally bankrupt economy. From who? Is it not APC? Remember when they came in 2015, they were calling PDP the devil himself.
Well, he also said we promised change and we gave you change. And that was the that's how the Buhari administration started. That's
we are tired of deceit. You know, when you want to tell lies, at a point you run out of it. APC have run out of telling Nigerians lies. This same speech was made by Buhari eight times in his 8 years. Is that not true? Telling us that don't worry, the pain will be over. You know these things. We know that yes, you know, for 8 years he was making this speech until he left office. It was when his co-traveler came in that they started lamenting. I thank God it was APC that took over from APC. If it was another party, oh my God, hey, you won't even. They will not let you rest. They will tell you that Buhari, in fact, he created the paradise.
Right, so I'm tempted to jump into something that has to do with the economy. I know we've outlined it in such a way that we'll talk about economy later. But the president says the economy is improving. At least the naira is not being determined by the fluctuation in the oil and gas sector. That's not determining the currency of Nigeria. Isn't that something to be grateful for?
There is nothing to be grateful, because before they took over in 2015, Nigeria was the #1 economy in Africa.
I beg your pardon.
Two of us, now we are #4. Come on. If you deceive Nigeria, can you deceive the international community? Who took us to #4? Look at it.
We're
talking of facts, verifiable facts.
As they say, the argument is, as at that time, that Nigeria was #1, that we were many living on borrowed time, that it was a matter of time before the economy crumbled.
And you believe such a story?
No, it's not a matter of believing. That's the argument.
Look, they will always tell lies to deceive you, but not Nigerian. Gullible Nigerian can believe what they are saying. How can you talk of borrowed time? How much did we borrow? How much debt did
No, I'm not talking about borrowed time. That is, we were living on something that was eventually something bad was definitely going to happen to us if they didn't come in to rescue us.
Who rescue us to what? What was the borrowing pattern under Jonathan? How much did Jonathan leave as debt?
No, barrister, I'm not talking about borrowing in terms of debt. When they say they are living on borrowed time, which means your time has already expired.
Are you serious?
So they said that, look, the economy was already tanked at that time, that it was more like cosmetics. What we saw at that time was cosmetics. That underneath, Nigeria was already decaying, and that they came to rescue us.
Are you serious? So for 8 years, the rescue, we didn't see it, Abi. For 8 years that Buhari was in office, didn't you hear what they said? That they met a totally collapse. So who now? Hey, God Almighty, Mr. Okoro, please don't go there. Who now collapsed the economy that their own party members are lamenting? What are you telling me? Didn't you hear what he said? That he met a bankrupt economy. So who bankrupted Nigerians? Was it PDP that they took over from 8 years ago? I mean 10 years ago that collapsed the economy? How can you buy such argument, Mr. Okoro? There is no argument in there. Please don't go there.
No, barrister, the president says we have turned the corner.
They didn't.
The economy has made a rebound.
Until they took us to where they met us in 2015, Mr. Okoro. Look, a man set his house on fire. And then when he realized it's fully, he now started putting up the fire and started renovating the house. Why should I praise him? Who put the house on fire before? Was it not you? So if you now remember, realize you are fully and started renovating the house and rebuilding it, why should I thank you? Who put the house on fire in the first place? What were you doing? You collapsed the economy, and I should praise you now for trying to revive it. No, the question is, what you said there? You collapsed this economy by your incompetence, and you are not telling me that we are cross. Where did you cross?
All right, Ambassador Roy, it was the network that took you off, but if you we can have you pick up from where you stopped.
Well, I don't want to attack barrister. That is barrister that took me off. Because
Can I do that? It was them.
All right. But on a serious note, we should all understand that all politicians have ported from one party to the other. And we should all understand that so many politicians that ported came with the secret of the parties where they were helmsmen. and everybody conglomerated under APC right now until another party takes over power, and they are giving, in exchange for a soft landing, they are giving secrets of other candidates and other parties where they are coming from. So let's leave party politics away if we want to talk about Nigeria, who is an innocent 65 years old man. Now, I will address my question of the war on terrorism and insecurity. I would like to say that what Nigeria is fighting, we are fighting battles, we are not fighting war. Because a war is a continuum where you keep all other angles under check to ensure that your territorial integrity and the internal discrepancies or vulnerabilities are addressed and your people are safe and secured. Now, if you look at battles that we fight, you will now see that we are reactionary in our attention to insecurity parameters. So it is very easy to deploy 2 million mobile policemen to a state that you want to put under siege, but it is difficult to deploy police officers to unpoliced areas, quote and unquote, within the country where bandits go in.
All right, good. Thank you.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
All right. So it's difficult to deploy police and to areas where bandits go there and rape and maim and collect taxes, you know. So we are fighting battles with reactive measures. We are not addressing the war with corrective measures, which will become territorial. We now claim our territory. No, how do we achieve that? You know, some of the things that Barrister has said there, I really like it because people are putting themselves first before the masses. So when people get into office, they immediately close the window of those that brought them in, that they are supposed to hear their cries. No, so we don't have continuity. So when a new minister of defense comes, he brings in his own ideas, his own vendors, and collectively erase what has been going on before. And you tell you he's rejigging the security.
Exactly, sir.
You know, when a minister of health come, I want to inform you that during the COVID, gradually the world was looking at Nigeria and Africa from those resolutions that we were bringing. You know, so many people started to produce resolutions to the COVID, and a medical advancement supposed to have kicked up from there. But what happened after the COVID? We all went back to the vaccine and bowed our heads to global pressure. You know, so there is no continuity. If you look at the people producing MRI, armored vehicles, armed drones in Nigeria, you know, you will gradually see that nobody is selling that, but we are going outside the country to import these military hardwares. You know, so many things that you can look at. If you look at military personnel, police personnel sent out of the country for military operations, training and other exercises, they come back with awards to Nigeria. But immediately they step into Nigeria, somebody manages their deployment, their capacity and their performance. And it is only on a phone call basis that the security apparatus in Nigeria can be effective or ineffective. So I dare say that we are 65 years, yes, but we were not allowed to go from primary school to secondary school to university and graduate as a professional. Right now, we are truncated at every point when a new set of policy or governance come on board.
All right.
Good morning, Nigeria.
Okay, thank you very much, Comrade Roy. Thank you. We appreciate your presence on this morning show. And we'll ask you to stay with us. We'll come back to you in a moment. Let's come to the studio where we've been joined by Mr. Segun Shopito. He's the chairman of the Accountability, Candor and Transparency Network. Once again, good morning to you, Segun.
Good morning.
Okay.
Good morning.
Now, broadly, you listened to the president's speech this morning, 65th Independence Celebration speech. What are your major takeaways? I don't want to give you limits. Just talk. What are your takeaways?
I think that, you know, when I listened to the speech, I had to shake my head. I had to wake myself up. You know, it's almost like where the president and his team are trying to put us under a spell and gaslight us and cause us to force us almost by narrative to agree that Nigeria is now doing well and that things are now okay. So I specifically reference paragraph 10 of that speech where he says, fellow Nigerians, I am happy to announce to you that we have now turned the corner and things are getting better. There is nothing that can be further from the truth. That is an absolute lie. And I don't think that it is the job of a sincere leader who is genuinely interested in furthering the cause of his people. If people have selected or elected you and put you into office, or you forced yourself on them, either way, you are the president today. Your job, primary job, is to improve the lives of the people that you have come to lead. Your job is not to tell us how things are. We should tell you how things are. So it is not for the president to tell us that we have turned the corner and things are now getting better. Excuse me, Mr. President, things are not getting better.
But do you expect the president to talk about the negative things?
No, they are not negative.
Of course he would.
Moses, those things are not negative. They are realities.
Okay.
Let's not cast them positive, negative, so that we now say, oh, you have to be positive about Nigeria. There's nothing like that. Those things are psychological programming tools. The reality is that for the average Nigerian today, life is hard.
Yes.
Life is tough.
I like that.
And the president cannot tell us that because we have now achieved 4.23% GDP, we have turned the corner. Or because inflation is coming down to 22%, well, 20%, we have turned the corner. Or that the exchange rate has stabilized at 1,500 in the last 6 months, we have turned the corner. We have to remind ourselves that exchange rate was 197 naira just 3 years ago. And that as at that time, we can calculate the price, the cost of living. There's a cost of living index. Those are realities. I don't think that the president did he did himself credit with that speech.
Now, Shogun, stand with you. We talked about hardship, but the president did acknowledge that there is hardship in the land, but that there is optimism for recovery. Like Moses said, and I'm asking too, do you expect Nigerians, do we expect the president to come and say, oh, my administration has not done well, we met inflation at 8%, or my party has not done well, we met inflation at 8% 10 years ago, and we drove it to 22%. Which president ever does that? So, but he acknowledged that there is hardship in the land. And I think at the point he said that we have turned the corner was when he said, look, there are improvements. At least inflation that got up to 34 at one point, it's coming down. Exchange rate that got to 2,000 at a point, naira to dollar, is at 1,500 now. Isn't that turning the corner?
Look, the conversation about what has happened in the last 3 years, the economic side of things is a completely different conversation, and I'm very, very well versed in that area. And I can tell you that we have turned no corner. What we have done is that we have created chaos, and we fought fires as a result of the chaos we created by ourselves, and then we've managed to put out some of the flames, but the chaos remains, right? So that's a different conversation. But the point I'm making is, yes, I don't expect the president to come and say things are bad. Oh, my fellow Nigerians, things are terrible. No. But the point is that the president must remain, if he is genuine about his intention to lead Nigeria to where we ought to be, then he can't be trying to paint a rosy picture. Nobody, look, if I listened to that speech, I told you I had to shake my head and wake myself up and tell myself, no, this is a lie. I had to remind myself, because as I was listening to it, I was getting sucked in, especially because I am financially intelligent. I'm an economist, I'm a financial professional. So when I'm listening to those numbers, the temptation is to say, wow, we have really done well. So I needed to wake myself up and say, oh God, they're lying to you, wake up. So now the point is, the president must understand that his job is to make lives better, not to post good numbers. He's a politician, so he wants to say these nice things because of the next election. But they're not the truth. There's nothing wrong with the president saying, I understand that this is this, this is this, this is this, painting the reality, and then telling us the concrete steps that they continue to take to make those things better. Look, another example of the gaslighting approach to this speech. The president says we have, this is 65 years of independence. And then he's painting us a picture of 1960 versus 2025, the 65 years. And he lists the number of universities. He says, oh, we had one. Now we have 237 universities, 330 something technical colleges and something colleges of education. Is that progress? Is that how you count progress? Because as at that time, Nigeria's population was about 19 million.
Exactly.
Today we are 230 million.
Exactly.
So if you do a institution per capita,
Exactly.
then you will know first whether you have made progress in terms of number of institutions per citizen. That's one.
And standard.
But far more critically is that what is the quality of the education and what is the impact it is having on your people that is making them more productive to create a prosperous nation. So you will now look at the HDI indicators. Where were we in 1960 in terms of literacy level? Where were we in 1960 in terms of technical education and the quality of the people, the engineers that we're putting out? And where are we today? Our HDI score is one of the worst in the world. We're just sitting in the middle. They call it mid-table mediocrity. We're just somewhere in the 70 rank, and we have been there for decades. Those are the realities that the president ought to be concerning himself with and telling us programs that will shift the needle significantly in those areas, because those are the realities. You know, you talk about the rail lines that we are putting in place. You talk about the roads that you are putting in place. The Lagos Calabar, excuse me, misplaced priority. Sokoto to Badagry to Sokoto. What about the roads that people are traveling from Lagos? You know, there are so many horrible roads where people are losing man hours all over the country, especially in the southeast and the south of Nigeria. You know, so those things. So sorry, Moses. So those things are things that the president needs to focus on. Tell us how many kilometers, for example, of rail line we had when he came on board. It's been 3 years. How many kilometers do we have now? You know, that he has added in that time. That's how to measure progress. So, Mr. President, thank you. You did a good job. You almost got me, but I woke up.
All right. Well, let's go back to Ambassador Roy. Barrister, we'll come back to you.
Okay,
let's go back to Ambassador Roy, as he will. I'd like to focus on the issue of security with you, Ambassador Roy, because I know that's your forte. Let's look at a few things that the president said. I'm just going to summarize a few things that he said. He said, look, the military successes against Boko Haram, IPOB, ESN, banditry, and kidnappers. Nigeria has military successes. He says peace has reportedly been restored in parts of the northwest and northeast, with displaced persons returning home. Okay. He praised security agencies for their sacrifices. Ambassador Roy.
Okay. I'm sure my son, who is 18, will disagree. Now, because the youths of Nigeria today, so many of them have gotten the opportunity to interrogate all the successes that are being claimed by the country leadership. Now, if you look at returning home, let's also talk about how to displace a community. One of the ways to displace a community is to distort their economic activities, where hunters cannot go and hunt, farmers cannot go to farm, fishermen cannot go to fish. You know, those are community lines. Then those that are in transportation, like moving people from point A to point B, either by keke napep, by scooter, by taxi, by bus, whatever means, economic activity by transportation. Now, when you are able to ground all of that, then people's rights are being trampled upon. How? They now begin to pay taxes to bandits and terrorist group. They now begin to pay kidnap ransoms, and you will now see a government saying, we want to take over the insecurity of that place and return sanity. Let me tell you something. There is something we call community policing and government policing. You must marry the two. Now, if you remove government policing, that means the police stations, the area command, the DPOs from all the other stations, substations have been collapsed. That means police patrolling, police armed intervention has been collapsed. Then you will now bring in the military. Then the military is coming there to dispel the insurgency and replace it with policing. If policing have not been replaced, then you have not done the first leg. Then after replacing it with policing, then you will recover the economic activities of the people. You know, so you must be able to ensure that farmers go to their farm and come back. They are not afraid of being kidnapped. They are not afraid of being harassed by Fulani herdsmen. They are not afraid of being crossfire of insurgency and non-state actors. You know, fishermen can go to fish. Children can go to school. Medical facilities are working. Then you will say, I have returned people back to their communities, because to be in a community means you are coming under unity. So when I dispel such, I am a bandit or non-state actor. So I disagree with that, and I am also disagreeing on the lines of not having long-term activities. How do bandits and terrorists take over the communities of territorial integrity of a country and exist to begin to negotiate with the same government that collects taxes from people? You know, so they must have financial lines of transferring money, movement of finance. They must be able to have medicals for themselves, so they buy. They must have food for themselves, so they buy or they are supplied. You know, there are so many lines of their existence that we can cut off as a government and begin to make them starve.
Get the point now. What do you think? Share your thought with me on the comment section. And of course, you know the vibe. Click on that subscribe button, follow, and share for more updates. Because like this, we move.